Hi Fixer family, it's Charmin. Welcome to Fixin' 2. Today we are going to be making some simple and easy projects for a tiered tray. We're going to zhuzh up some pine cones and a snowflake, and we're also going to be making these cute skis. So let's go ahead and get started. Now here's what we're going to need for this project. Now remember, I have been shopping my stash, so I'm going to be using these leftover picks. I'm using the pine cones off of them, some Mod Podge, also some glitter that I have on hand, some leftover faux snow from Dollar Tree, and of course my paintbrush. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and pull these pine cones off of the rest of this pick here. Some of them will pull right out, and others, of course, you'll see that I have to cut the stems off, but just kind of trimming up anything excess that's on the bottom of them, and I'm just going to go ahead and cut these apart. Now you'll also see that these pine cones are already, have that paint on there to kind of mimic snow and everything. If yours don't, just go ahead and grab some white paint and go ahead and touch up the outside of those, because that's what we're trying to give these, is a little bit of a wintry look to them. And so I'm going to grab out some of my fine little glitter and of course bring in my faux snow. And we're just going to take the Mod Podge and dip in the paintbrush and lightly just kind of go over the outside of the pine cone there, just to give it a little bit on the edges of it, if that makes sense. And then just sprinkling on the glitter. And what this will do, and I wound up just using just this iridescent kind of white glitter. And what it does is, you can't really tell it here, but definitely when the light hits it, it really gives it that shimmer of what snow would look like. So I kind of call these my iced pumpkins. Now, of course, the reason for my white piece of paper underneath here is to capture that excess glitter and also this excess snow. And we're just using the same process on this one with the faux snow that I did with the glitter. The Mod Podge really grabs a hold of this because it's super thin and holds it really well, and also gives you a kind of a little bit of a different look to these pine cones. And I wind up doing 2 of each. Now for the next project, we're going to be using some of these wood cutout hearts that I had left over. Got these at the Dollar Tree back during Christmas. And of course we're going to be bringing in possibly the faux snow or glitter, one of the two. I'm also going to be using my Waverly chalk paint in the color white, and again some Mod Podge and some paint brushes. So super simple with this one. We're just kind of what I call zhuzhing it up just a little bit. I'm going to take and just paint the whole snowflake white. And the neat thing about Waverly chalk paint, typically on stuff like this, you only need 1 coat. And you'll see I'll pick it up here in just a minute and just make sure that I get all of the edges inside it, and also make sure that I don't have any globs of paint right in the corners and the crevices. And we're going to do both sides and let them completely dry. And now that it's dry, we're just going to take some Mod Podge and just kind of put it in some random places. And I didn't know if I was going to use which glitter I was going to use, and I wound up using more of the silver than anything, because I think it really made it stand out. But you can also use the faux snow on this as well, and it really turns out super pretty and definitely makes a difference. I know you can't really see it here, but it really does make a difference in what it looks like. Here's what you're going to need for this fun project. You're going to need 2 of the large craft sticks, 2 skewer sticks, some buttons, some paint. We're using burnt umber and white acrylic paint, and a little bit of twine. So the first thing that I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to just cut the rounded tip off of each one of the craft sticks. And typically you can use a pair of scissors to cut these off with. It makes a pretty clean cut. Might have to work at it just a little bit, but once you get it cut off, you can just grab a piece of scrap sandpaper and just kind of clean up the edges and make sure that they're nice and smooth and ready to work with. And so then I'll take the first craft stick, as you see here, and I'll lay it on top of the second one so that I can make sure that I get the exact same cut. And for some reason this one seemed to cut a little bit easier. So we're just gonna get the edges here, get those cleaned up, and then we'll be ready to go ahead and cut our little skewer sticks as well. And what I did is take and kind of put them how they're going to be when they're done, just so that I can kind of get an eyeball of where I want them cut. And of course you want to keep the pointed end, and there's a reason for that, and I'll show you in just a second, but kind of get an eyeball of where you want it. And I just grabbed a marker and marked it on the first one, and then I'll lay it down beside the second one to be able to get the same mark. Once I get them marked, then I'm going to go ahead and grab my little wire cutters here, because these cut a lot easier with wire cutters than they do with scissors. Though you can, if you don't have a pair of wire cutters, you can cut these with scissors. So now that they are cut, they are ready to be painted, or as I say, stained with paint. With the burnt umber, you guys, if you've been with me any length of time, you've seen this technique. You can take your brown paint and you can do it one of two ways. You can put it straight on paint and then take a paper towel and wipe off your excess, and it really makes it look like stained wood, and it dries so much quicker than stain. Or you can also water your paint down, and what that does is give it a little bit lighter color than the straight on full strength paint. So it's really based on what color paint and how dark you want it. So I do this with both of the craft sticks and also the skewers. I do the same technique with them as well, so that they all look like real wood. So once we do that, of course, I want to dry them super quick, even quicker with the hair dryer there. And I want to show you a little tip here. I'm going to be doing a little bit of splatter painting here, and instead of having to put on the entire glove, I'm just going to cut off the thumb here, and I'm going to place it on my thumb, and then that way I can still do the splatter technique and not get it all over my hand. That's just something that I like to do. It's just a kind of a quick tip. So we're going to just kind of stick out a little drop of our white paint, and I'm going to dab the brush in right at the tip of it, and then onto the edge, kind of like the side edge of it. And then just take my thumb and begin to do a little bit of splattering onto my skis because I wanted them to look a little worn and like maybe they had a little bit of snow on them, just kind of give them a little bit of an effect. Dry them up super quick, and then we're going to do a little bit of paint embellishment. I'm going to be using a very fine tip paintbrush and just kind of painting a couple of lines on them. And guys, this is really where you can get creative and make these your own. Just for me, I just wanted something to just kind of give them a little bit of, you know, something, as you could say. But you can do whatever you want. If you've got stickers, you can put stickers on them to really make them look, you know, like a set of skis. Really, these are like old skis. I love the way that these wind up turning out. Now we're ready to make our skewer sticks look like ski poles. Now this little jar of buttons, I got this at the Dollar Tree a while back ago, and so I'm just going through here to find the size of buttons that I want. They're, you know, kind of the smaller ones, and I wanted them to match. So I went ahead and grabbed 2 of those. Now these buttons, of course, have the 4 holes in it, but it's okay because we're just going to go ahead and stick our point right down into one of these holes, and that's going to make the bottom of our ski. And the way that I get it to stay on there is I'm going to take my hot glue gun and just put just a small dab, really just kind of sticking it inside the tip of my hot glue gun to get a little bit of glue in there, and then just sliding it on, and this really does hold it. So as you'll see, I'm going to take the pointed end, stick it right down in the tip of my hot glue gun, get just a dab of hot glue, and then slide my button on, and it's set. So now we are ready to make our little handles for our poles. And so I'm just going to take a piece of my twine here, fold it over and make a loop, and I'm going to cut two of those pieces, and you can make them however big you want to. This was just what I kind of tried to do it, I guess you could kind of say sort of to scale. So then I'm going to fold it over. Now guys, I'm giving you a little caution here. I'm using my bare hand on this hot glue when I put it on there because this is so tiny, and I'm just kind of lightly will touch it and kind of let it cool off a little bit, and then holding it together and just kind of working it to where it stays closed. Please be careful. I know I've been getting burned so much, my fingers are almost, the tips of my fingers are about numb to it. But just be super careful, and if you know of a better way to make those stick and stay together without burning yourself, please do it that way and share it with me. I'd love to know how to get something this tiny stuck together using my hot glue. So anyway, I'll do that with both of these little pieces, and then we're going to just glue it to the top of our ski poles. Now it's just a matter of getting the little buttons that are on the bottom to make the bottom of your ski poles turned the right way because they're offset just a little bit, and then just putting a little dab of glue at the top of your pole and sticking on your little loop. And these, guys, these turned out so cute. They look like little ski poles to me. I don't know about you, but I thought it was great. So now it's ready to assemble these and put these together, and we're going to take our 2 skis, putting a little dab of glue right in the center, and then crossing it over to make an X, and just making sure that it gets set on there really well. And then we're just going to take our poles and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to cross them over the top of our skis, and just putting a little dab of glue and gluing them right to the center. Well guys, You know that I haven't said this in a minute and I have to. These are so stinking cute. Let me know what you guys think. I know that we have been doing some awesome Valentine projects, but for those of you that may not decorate for Valentine, I wanted to bring you some awesome winter decor pieces. And these were simple and easy, but even though they were simple and easy, they make such an impact on a tiered tray, on a flat tray, or wherever you would like to put them. Now I have a question for you. Down in the comments section below, let me know, how do you decorate after Christmas? Do you go winter and then straight into spring? Or do you follow the holidays like Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, and so on and so forth? I would love to know that. As for me, as you know, I do decorate for Valentine's Day, a little bit of winter mixed in there, and then of course I'll be going into spring and Easter. I love the holidays and I love to bring that transformation into my home. Now I want to tell you, if you haven't heard this today, you are worth it. And always remember to keep looking up, because that's where it all is. I'll see you on the next video.